What's up YouTube, and welcome back to the Anabolic Outpost. There's nothing out there that screams obesity and health complications quite like a good pound cake. In fact, it's in the name itself because the original pound cake recipe quite literally called for a pound of butter, a pound of sugar, and a pound of flour. And quite frankly, nutritional wise, you can't get much worse than that. What you can do though is make this low calorie, high protein alternative lemon pound cake. Obviously, with the makeup of a traditional pound cake, it's going to be quite hard to replicate that in a low-calorie recipe. But with a lot of patience and a lot of ingredients, it is possible to transform it to a lower-calorie compromise. So rolling straight into that long list of ingredients, the first ingredient is protein powder, specifically the cake pop flavor. Next is oat flour. Your sweetener of choice, I will be using my newly founded monk fruit sweetener. Baking soda, baking powder, lemon zest, fat-free Greek yogurt, milk of choice, I will be using fat-free, lemon juice, light butter, but it's honestly so little used in the recipe that you could just use regular butter if you don't have this in your household. And the final ingredient is egg whites. Before we get mixing here, go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Getting into the mixing now, we're going to go ahead and mix the dry ingredients and wet ingredients separately, starting off with the dry ingredients, adding in the protein powder, measuring it out at 30 grams. I'm adding in that oat flour next, measuring that out at 135 grams. I'm adding in my sweetener now, measuring that out at 50 grams. And as you may have heard earlier in the video or seen on my channel, this is a new sweetener that I'm introducing into my anabolic kitchen. I've had so many people request that I use this, and I bought this massive bag, so you'll be seeing it for quite some time and probably then on after that. I even decided to dedicate a video review to it, and that is in my previous video. If you want to go check that out, I'll link it on screen now. I've got 3 grams of baking powder going in now. And it's twin baking soda with 2 grams of that. A half gram of salt. And lastly, on the dry ingredients side, the lemon zest. And I'm going to go ahead and zest the entire lemon, but that's completely personal preference for how zesty you want that lemon pound cake. And once you've got those added in, hit it with a quick mix. Moving on to those wet ingredients now, adding in the lemon juice, measuring that at 75 grams. And the milk, 45 grams of that. I've got 60 grams of egg whites going in, 90 grams of Greek yogurt. And the last ingredient there is the light butter. Like I said, a very minimal amount at only 10 grams. And we're also going to melt it down before we add it. Should only take about 10 to 20 seconds. And go ahead and add that in. And once you've done so and you've got all the ingredients added in, you could go ahead and give these a mix as well. You now should have 2 separate bowls of mixed ingredients. And there's only one thing left to do now. And that's mix them together, but very slowly and carefully, as the wet ingredients slowly merge in with the dry. And just go ahead and keep mixing until they look evenly incorporated like I'm showing on the screen right now. We're going to take out a 9x5 pan and lather it in cooking spray, and you could then transfer in your pound cake batter. It's pretty thick, so give it a quick shake and make sure it's evenly spread on top. You then can place it in the oven and set the timer for 40 minutes. While that's cooking, we'll have plenty of time to mix one final time to create the glaze that will go on top. It's very simple with only 3 ingredients, adding in 10 grams of lemon juice, 20 grams of the sweetener, and 45 grams of Greek yogurt, and mixing that together until you have a delicious glaze ready to go. It is a little bit thin, but once it's spread on top of the pound cake and cooled down as it should be served, you'll see at the end that it actually turns out a good texture for a glaze. And for my pound cake frosting lovers, I actually have a low-calorie, high-protein cream cheese frosting on my channel. I'll link that as well if you want to use that as a great alternative. I bet you didn't even hear what I just said though, because that golden lemon pound cake is distracting you on screen right now. Make sure to let it cool at room temperature first before transferring it out on the pan. And once you've done so, you could go ahead and spread the glaze on sides and on the top of the pound cake. There's not a whole lot of glaze there, obviously, so it should be a pretty thin layer on top. And here we are, after the lemon glaze is spread on top, we have our final product in front of you. And also sliced open so you could hopefully see the thickness that is in this replica pound cake. And I think if you try this recipe out yourself, I think you will be surprised how close the texture replicates it. And speaking of being surprised, the surprise will continue when I tell you the macros on this thing. For the entire cake, including the glaze on top, it's coming in at 60 grams of protein with 112 grams of carbs and 15 grams of fat for a total of 810 calories. And keep in mind, that's for the entire thing. You're likely to get at least 4 servings out of this. So being able to have a dessert where you're satisfied that's less than 200 calories, I call that a win. And if you want to continue to win, possibly racking up an impressive winning streak, I have many other recipes on my channel where you can continue to find low-calorie versions of your favorite desserts and various other recipes. That is all I got for today though. If you did have any questions or were confused at any part of this recipe video, leave a comment down below and I will be sure to help you out down there. Other than that, if you found this helpful today, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.